Jennifer, the family says school administrators made the 9-year-old clean the bathroom floor with a toothbrush. They say it was punishment for her using too much toilet tissue.
What has been done to my granddaughter, I am a broken man.
65-year-old Burry Nivens didn't hold anything back this week when he spoke at a Chesterfield County school board meeting. He's deeply troubled about what he says happened to his 9-year-old granddaughter at Jefferson Elementary School. Nivens told school board members the school administrators made the little girl clean the bathroom floor with a toothbrush.
My granddaughter did something at school that would be minor at any other time or any other child. She admitted to the staff at her elementary school that she indeed used the restroom and filled the toilet with tissue.
I reached out to the Chesterfield County School District about the incident. A spokesperson says, quote, the district is aware and this is being handled as an internal personnel matter of which we cannot discuss further. But some say that statement just isn't good enough, including Pastor Lou Esther Brown. Brown is a community leader in Chesterfield County and a veteran. She says she too cleaned the bathroom floor with a toothbrush when she was in the Army as punishment for her entire unit.
It took me back to that time when I recall doing that, and this was very rigid and inhospitable punishment for a 9-year-old.
I emailed the State Department of Education about the situation. Officials say they set minimum standards for disciplinary action, but local districts must adopt their own policies. According to the state ed standard, what the 9-year-old did would be a level 1 type of misconduct. Possible consequences: verbal reprimand, withdrawal of privileges, demerits, and detention. The Chesterfield branch of the NAACP says school administrators went too far and they want the school board to do something about it. Principals getting punched, teachers working in fear, bus drivers getting cursed out, and hundreds of fights are leading Florence 1 schools to consider student discipline code changes. Florence 1 School Superintendent Dr. Richard O'Malley told board members Thursday night they're in a, quote, downward spiral when it comes to school violence.
We had a fight last Friday where the girl was punching the principal in the back of the head.
Since school started on August 2nd, up until this week, there have been 225 fights. Board member Tricia Calder says teachers are scared.
It's like a battlefield going in there now.
We told you last week about a social media threat that sent more than 400 parents to pick up their kids from school. That threat was unfounded. O'Malley says he wants a zero-tolerance policy for fighting. In other words, if you fight, you're expelled.
I know there'll be some caught in the net, but it is an immediate expulsion.
Right now, if students fight, they can go to the alternative school or face expulsion depending on the severity of the fight. Longtime board member Alexis Pipkin Sr. says putting students out of school altogether for fighting will only hurt them, especially African Americans.
But I have a problem with putting kids out of school for a whole year with no education. You set an opportunity for them to break in your house. You set an opportunity for them to do other incorrigible crimes.
Administrators say of the 225 fights so far this year, 193 involved African American students.
Jen, events have been going on all week for CCU's homecoming, from the annual Miss Teal and Bronze pageant to decorating Prince Lawn and themed tailgates. And CCU's student activities coordinator says there's still more to come for this weekend. To make their 2021 homecoming bigger and better than ever, CCU Student Activities Coordinator Brittany Donatelli Parks says they're improving on a CCU tradition.
We have brought back the homecoming parade. We haven't had a parade in a really long time, but wanted to bring something to the community.
She says CCU used to have on-campus golf cart parades, but this time they're getting students involved and taking the streets of Conway with their creations. But there's a bigger meaning behind the parade.
When you're attending a university, sometimes we get stuck in our bubble, but we need to remember that we are a part of a bigger community, and making sure that our students know about our local businesses, making sure that our students know where they can find resources in our town downtown.
And one Conway business right around the corner from where the parade will take place works to have strong ties with the Chanticleer community.
Our name is the Crafty Rooster, and the Chanticleer is a Crafty Rooster, so that's kind of, we have a good tie in there.
Owner of the Crafty Rooster and CCU alumni Sean Kobus says his restaurant came to be during an entrepreneurship class at CCU nearly 12 years ago. And since he's been open, he's always welcomed hiring students.
You're going to Coastal, we're always going to give you a chance to come over here and work, and we got a great staff here.
Kobus says his favorite part about CCU Homecoming Week is seeing old friends and former employees who are all alumni.
I have a little affinity for all our old employees that come back, and they were servers, they were bartenders, and now they're out there in the world being teachers, whatever they're doing, and I'm very proud of them.
The CCU Homecoming Parade is set to start tomorrow at 9 a.m. in downtown Conway, and the football game against Georgia State begins at 2 p.m.
Spend a weekend along Ocean Boulevard in Myrtle Beach, and you'll see them. Trucks and SUVs modified with the Carolina Squat. This video from YouTube page Myrtle Beach Cam shows dozens parading down the strip on a Sunday night this past April. It's not necessarily a new trend, though. Curtis Owens owns Farm Boy Customs in Myrtle Beach. He says trucks have been modified around the area since the time he was growing up here.
We called it the Ainer Squat back then. What they did was they usually did it on a two-wheel drive. They would drop the rear end down a little bit more. So if you were drag racing or something like that, it would kind of shift the weight a little bit and like that.
Owens says it used to only be an inch or two, though, which is generally fine. But while the squat's popularity has grown in recent years, the size of it has too. Owens says he avoids a lot of squat jobs nowadays for a couple of reasons. For one, more extreme variances from the front to back bumpers can cause issues for a truck.
You go over more than 11 degrees on that front motor, it doesn't oil to the front. Same with transmissions, you have repeated problems.
And more importantly, it can also be a risk to other drivers. Plenty of people have taken notice and offense. Right now, a petition on change.org has more than 70,000 signatures asking to make the Carolina Squat illegal in North Carolina. And earlier this month, a bill passed through North Carolina's House of Representatives, looking to do just that, saying that a private passenger vehicle can't be elevated more than 3 inches in the front or lowered 2 inches in the back.
Well, I've had several calls from people with concerns, safety issues. A lot of big truck drivers have called me. Visibility problems with the lights from the angle of the vehicle.
I reached out to South Carolina District 105 Representative Kevin Hardy to see what our local lawmakers thought of the squat. He says he's gotten a number of complaints and wouldn't be surprised if South Carolina considered taking action soon.
I'm sure it's something that will be looked into in the future. We're out of session now, but I'm sure it's something that could possibly come up next year.
Still, Owens is skeptical the squat will ever fully disappear, because while many shops like his own have already moved away from doing some jobs, that hasn't stopped their growing popularity.
Honestly, a lot of them are doing them themselves. They get a group of friends together and they'll sit out in the backyard.
To him, the solution would be people going back to having squats done like the ones he saw growing up.
Still, again, as long as it's not too crazy, I'll still squat a truck because my family's got to eat too.